good people? You are now listening to another episode of Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and once again, we're joined by an extremely special guest. You know him, you love him, friend of the podcast, the one and only Brandon Silvers. Brandon, what's good, man?
I am excited to make this is my Since We Last Spoke debut. I have been waiting for this.
Is it?
Very excited, man. Cannot thank you enough.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, it's just been at the plate strictly so far. So I'm
Wow,
excited
okay.
to show the full range of Brandon Silvers.
Yes, so we're going to get into all of that. So first and foremost, we're not going to be talking about any baseball, but we're going to get right into the meat and potatoes of things. The Las Vegas Aces. You know, by the All-Star break, they looked like they were dead in the water. They were an 8 seed. And all of a sudden, you look up and they've won 12 straight games and they've now secured the second seed. So, man, how was just talk about that, like the vast improvement.
Thank goodness, because that was an ugly first half of the season.
Yes, it was.
I never could have imagined that this was going to happen just based on how they look and not making any roster moves at the trade deadline either. And then Kirsten Bell's playing. They trade for Nalissa Smith was the only move they made, which I didn't really think was going to do much, but they kind of mixed some things up. Brought Jewel Lloyd off the bench. I think that's the perfect role for her.
Yeah.
And then I don't really know what more you can say about Asia Wilson, except she's a South Carolina native. So you know how it is.
Yeah. And kudos to Becky Hammond for making adjustments. And I think initially the word was Jewel Lloyd she approached Becky Hammond telling her she would be more suited to come off the bench. And initially it was met with some resistance, but now you see she's coming off the bench and it's paying dividends. And then I gotta eat crow here with Kirsten Bell because
you're not alone.
I've been dragging her pretty much ever since she came in the league, and she shut me right the hell up. So, Kirsten Bell, keep doing what you're doing. And like you said, them acquiring Nalissa Smith, that's been pretty advantageous for the squad. And they're really gelling at the right time. So hopefully they'll keep this momentum going. And especially them winning these games, these series of games on the road, like these last 3 or 4 games, it's been extremely impressive, especially against the Dream, who occupied the second seed, and then the Aces come to Atlanta and actually beat them at home. I was extremely impressed with that outcome.
Yeah, because Atlanta's had an incredible year, like you said.
Yeah.
A huge turnaround from last year with their new coach, Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard. Tahina Pow just been hooping.
Yeah.
And for the Aces to come in there, I know it made Ryan Howard angry, rightfully so, and get the MVP chance for Asia in Atlanta. Whew. Whew.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Apparently they did it in D.C. when they played the Mystics as well.
Yeah. I mean, if I see Asia Wilson, I don't care where she is, I'm chanting MVP. So it's that simple.
Completely agree. But we're going to put sports on the shelf for a second. So, you actually have me on your podcast to talk about the podcast world, and you allow me to get a little personal and whatnot. So I figured, why not have you on Since We Last Spoke, and we can do the same thing, because every time we have you on, it's mainly about sports, but you have, sports is what you enjoy, but it's not who you are exactly. So we're going to get into the mind of Brandon Silvers. So
let's do it.
Just let's take it back to the very beginning. North Charleston, South Carolina. What was life like for a young Brandon Silvers?
So I was raised in West Ashley, grew up off Sam Rittenberg.
West Cache.
All my birthday parties were at the Chuck E. Cheese. I was sad to see it go. Grew up with my mom and grandmother raising me. My grandmother, who we called Mimi, she would get out there. She actually taught me how to play basketball. I fell in love with the game. Not to take it too much to sports, but sports will play a major role in all this. Fell in love with the game through watching Hakeem Olajuwon, who I know a favorite of yours as well.
Yes.
Get out in the yard with her and foul the hell out of her. My apologies. But so, no, it was great. Went to Ashley River Creative Arts, home of the Unicorns. So
That's a hell of a nickname.
I know. And what's weird too is that I did not lean into my creative side until recently, and most of my creative side is through writing. So I was really out of my element when it came to all the kids playing the oboe and drawing and all this stuff. That wasn't really for me, but it was a
You
great
weren't music
experience.
right. You weren't musically inclined, but you were sharp in other areas.
Yeah. So the one probably my earliest interesting fact is that I skipped the second grade.
No kidding.
So I was, for whatever it's worth, a smart first grader. I don't even know what that means, but I guess I could color inside the lines better. So they advanced me straight to third. So if you see my signature, that's why my signature is terrible, because they taught cursive in the second grade, and I'm a self-taught cursive person, and so my signature to this day is pathetic.
And so what was it that sparked your creative writing itch?
Man, I've always loved reading. So just looking at how these people were able to create these worlds, whether it was in books or all these sports almanacs, or I used to be a dedicated Sports Illustrated Slam magazine reader.
Me too.
The fact that everyone could paint this picture with their words, I just thought that was the coolest thing. And then one day I just had an epiphany, like, you know, you could do that too. And so I decided to give it a try. And sharing it publicly has been a very recent development within the past couple years here. But I was always very good at like writing papers and stuff academically. So everyone would always, oh, you're a great writer. You need to write. You need to write. Wasn't really my thing until very recently, when I was like, I'd like to see if I can create this feeling in other people that I've had given to me by people who are writing.
Man, and so what got you into doing the articles and talking about like things like sports programming for people to watch for that particular weekend?
Yes. So my blog is the show notes. And within that, I've got screenshots, which is my weekly sports watch guide. And really, that just came from my podcast, Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers, which Danny has been on a bunch. He's one of the fan favorites there. And I want to cover as many sports as possible and as many different aspects of sports as possible. So that means I have to watch sports. And then on top of that, I've always had an interest, even going back to when I was little, in learning interesting facts about sports in particular. And like I said, reading the different almanacs and like recalling a piece of sports trivia. So I was like, man, if I can put together the what I think are the most interesting games to watch each week and kind of drop a tidbit in there. So it's like a quick little thing. You can read it and be like, okay, I'm going to watch this game. And then maybe I got a little fact I can share if I'm watching it with a friend, make me look smart. I was like, let's do that. So,
I love it. So what were the high school years like for you?
oh, interesting. So this goes back to, we got to go back a little bit before high school. I was always a very shy child. And then fourth grade, that kind of developed into an anxiety disorder.
Hmm.
So from fourth grade until deep into my senior year of high school, I had a severe anxiety disorder. Like, it got out of control to where I missed most of middle school. I was actually homebound and had a teacher
Wow.
come and teach me. I couldn't leave the house. The only thing I could really do was I could go play basketball. If when I was playing basketball, I felt free. I didn't worry about anything, but I couldn't even go watch a basketball game if I was not on the floor. I was
Hmm.
very famously a low gator ball boy. So that was fine because I was floor level. But if I was in the crowd, I would have a panic attack. I remember I had to leave a Harlem Globetrotters game at North Charleston Coliseum because I had a panic attack.
Really?
Now, I would probably leave voluntarily today because that's not my speed anymore. But I used to have so many panic attacks. So that really formed not only who I was throughout high school, but also today I still see remnants of, oh, this is why you are this certain way, because you were locked in the house for so many years.
Yeah.
So
So
going
how?
in, yeah.
Oh, I was. Well, you go ahead.
So going into high school, it was kind of like a back and forth where I was trying to get through it, and then you'd have setbacks. I told you I skipped the second grade, so my initial freshman year of high school, I missed. I was on homebound again, and the homebound teacher just did not turn in the work I did. So then I had to repeat freshman year of high school.
Wow.
Yes, because I missed too many things. They didn't have any grades for me. So that was devastating. And so I had to go to a small private school in West Ashley because I just could not handle big crowds. I was zoned for West Ashley High School, which is huge. That was one of the high schools I tried during my initial freshman year. What I call freshman year the remix, I had to go to a much smaller school, and that kind of helped facilitate my progression, but it was still kind of up and down throughout my high school career, even as I got to play basketball and everything, that stuff that made me happy, but it was still off the court stuff was still kind of hit or miss if I was going to have a good day or a bad day.
So what was it that helped you eventually overcome that anxiety?
Well, there was a point in my senior year where I got a new psychiatrist, and he was like, man, typically people who have had this as long as Brandon, they end up not leaving the house as adults. And I was like, well, that sounds scary and also not what I want for my life. And I was sitting and thinking about it, and I realized I'd had hundreds of panic attacks. And the big fear with a panic attack is that you're going to die.
Yeah.
None of these panic attacks had killed me yet. So odds are it probably wasn't going to kill me. So then I kind of turned it into a competition because I was ridiculously competitive to an unhealthy point. And so I turned it into a competition to see how many different things I could do that would make me anxious and how long I could withstand the feeling of panic. And that kind of helped me push through it.
Man, so what kind of like mechanisms did you use, or like what kind of routines did you have?
So I would have my mom drop me off at Citadel Mall back when Citadel Mall had people inside of it. And I would just walk around Citadel Mall and I would get real anxious, and I would want to panic. I'd gotten to a point where I could panic internally without all the outward symptoms of a panic attack. I just was like, I'm holding it in, but I'm freaking out on the inside. And I would just say, don't come back. I'll call you when I need you. And I would just walk around and see how long I could last.
And how many repetitions did it take for you to get to the point where you're like, you know what? I'm a lot calmer now, and this anxiety isn't affecting me like it once did.
It took a while because I know I was supposed to take the SAT at West Ashley my senior year. And I went and sat in the testing room, and I left the SAT like within section one. I was gone.
Oh man.
Yeah. So this is senior year. So I ended up, I played basketball in high school, and I was going to Newberry College to play basketball. And you need a SAT score to do that. At least you
Right.
did at the time. So I took it the final time I could take it, or else I don't know what would have happened. I took it the final time I could take it at Charleston Southern, and I got there 30 minutes early. I spent 29 minutes and 59 seconds dry heaving in the parking lot. And then I just went and sat at the desk and I took the test, and there you go.
Scored good enough eventually or evidently you scored good enough to get into Newberry.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Newberry. So what was that experience like for you?
That was devastating.
How so?
So this was I was the first person in my family to go to a 4-year college. And
Okay.
I had really romanticized the idea of college based off of movies and TV because that was my only reference for it.
Yeah.
And then you show up and you're like, well, college is really just like 13th year of high school.
Yeah.
Like it's not this huge academically, not that I needed like I didn't need to be at Yale, but you want to talk. I wanted to learn new things, and I was like, these are all people I know from home, basically, like not literally, but I didn't feel like I was growing. The basketball experience was was terrible. I'm gonna be honest. The coach basically did the stereotypical coach thing where he makes it sound like, oh, we're gonna be family. I'm gonna take care of you. This, that, and the other. Perfect. I'm signing with Newberry. You get to Newberry, that is not the case. He told me flat out, he said, I don't need you to be happy. I need to win games so I can feed my family. And that's what it is.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was miserable. And uh, my birthday, January 11th, I think it was like the second day of second semester my freshman year, I left, came back home to Charleston.
And then what was the next course of events?
So by this point, I had connected with Coach Herbert Johnson from the Herbert
OG.
Johnson Track and Field Academy, who you met at the baby shower, and he coached Raven Saunders, Olympic shot putter, and he had been training me both for basketball, but also kind of planting some life lesson seeds as well. So I came back. I was working out with him. I was working out with this guy Drew Hall, who played at the College of Charleston.
I remember him.
Yeah, he transferred in from Georgetown. So we were going down working out of the College of Charleston because we were both doing some training for Jermel President's training company, basketball training company.
Mm-hmm.
So Drew was training me, and I was just kind of preparing, and then got the opportunity, I thought, to go play at Furman. Was emailing with the coach. I was like, hey, let me just walk on. I just need to walk on. He said, sure, come walk on. I wasn't really familiar with the process. I get there. He says, we have no walk-on spots. I said, well, I'm enrolled. I'm here in Greenville, South Carolina. And so that really sent me into a very deep depression. I was offered a basketball manager job. And I'm coming off of, like I said, it was a small private school that I went to here in Charleston. But I was the low country leading scorer. I was outscoring. He went to a much bigger high school, much more accomplished athlete than me. But if we're looking at it through high school Brandon's eyes, I'm outscoring AJ Green. Those guys were in my class. So I think I'm on my way to the NBA, even though I started off at Newberry. I'm like, if the Low Gators come back to North Charleston, I want to be there. Get to Furman, thinking I can play with these Furman guys, and I do think I could have, but he's like, we got nothing. You can be the manager. So I was like, shit, this is incredibly humbling. But if you are the manager, you get the key to the gym. Took the manager job, kept working, and I was completely miserable the whole year. I'm not gonna lie, I was deep depression. I was miserable to be around, especially like the competitiveness that I had used to get past the anxiety issues, I thought was an acceptable way to live my life. I was like, I can just Mamba mentality my way through life. That does not make you a fun person to be around. That makes you a miserable person to be around. And I was a miserable person to be around. And the more depressed I got, the more I leaned into that. And it was awful. But I was working out at the Furman gym pretty much all hours because I was not a partier or a drinker, really. So all my free time was doing that, just kind of waiting for the year to end so I could find something else to do.
And then after that year ended, what did you end up doing?
So I went to Tech for a bit, and I was like, I got to get out of Trident Tech because this is nothing.
Yeah.
Ended up going to a small school, Shorter University in Rome, Georgia. It was like, I think NAIA. I was like, this is not serious. And I had stuff I was dealing with at home too. I was like, I can't be wasting time here. So then just came back got a job, was working out with coach full time at this point, just for some, at the time, D League tryouts. Now they're the G League.
And then, so talk about the D League tryouts, and then like trying out for the Charleston Low Gators. What was that experience like?
So there was an open tryout in Houston, Texas, and I went with Coach Johnson.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that far away.
Yeah, so they had a league tryout you went to. And so I went to the league tryout. I didn't know that was my first time. I did not travel at all. This was my first time, not my first time on a plane, but one of the first times on a plane, and definitely the first time in Houston, Texas, which is not anything like Charleston, South Carolina.
Right.
Like, it's huge. Everything is far away. Me and coach were walking to Walmart thinking that a Walmart is half a mile away, not knowing that half a mile is on a highway and you are about to be roadkill. It was crazy. The and then 2 days before the tryout, I'm at a steakhouse with my brother Frankie out in Houston, and I get a piece of steak stuck in my esophagus.
Oh man.
And I come to find out it's a very kind, it's called steakhouse syndrome. And that just happens. So chew your steak properly.
That might be the name of this episode.
Because it was another humbling experience, because I left the restaurant to go outside because I was like, I don't like causing a scene. I still had that like anxiety thing. Like, I want to do something quiet. And so if I'm going to die, I'm going to die quietly away from everybody, because I thought I was choking, but I could breathe. I just couldn't move the steak out of my esophagus. And then I was probably 170 pounds, which was a big reason why I did not have a great long basketball career, because I'm also like 6'1". And a man came to give me the Heimlich and lifted me off the ground like it was nothing. And I was like, this is kind of embarrassing. I might rather die. I might just need to lay me down here. And so they got me to the hospital, and I had to ride in the EMS. And I can tell they don't believe that anything's wrong with me. They're like, sir, you're not choking, you're talking. I was like, I know, but there's something stuck. Okay, I don't know what the problem is. And so they keep talking about all this stuff. They gave me something to make me throw up, but nothing was coming up. So it just made me dry heave until I almost fainted. The thing that got the piece of steak out that I don't know why they don't lead with, and it is a cure. I Googled it. They should have done this first. They gave me a can of Coke. I drank a Coke and it moved it.
Really?
Probably the most expensive can of Coke in the world, but it's a can of Coke. So if you ever find something stuck in your throat, reach for the Coke first. Do not go to the hospital and let them torture you.
Duly noted.
Yes, but the trial, it was a good experience. Like I said, how many 6'1", 170-pound shooting guards was the league looking for at the time? Probably very few. So I advanced to like a team open tryout for the Reno Bighorns, I believe, but that was as far as I got. And, you know, it is what it is. Still very proud of doing it and everything, but I got everything out of my body that I could, I believe.
So how did you end up becoming a ball boy for the Low Gators?
Man, I think my mom saw an ad in the paper and was like, oh, they're getting a team here. This is something that was middle school too, where they were trying to find things to get me out of the house and kind of work through the anxiety. So they were like, hey, this is going on here. This might be good for you. And it was like, that was a great experience. Got to be on the ESPN documentary, Down Low Life in the D League. That was one of my things too. That's where the sports trivia that I put in the screenshots newsletter. I used to, that's how they noticed me and mic'd me up for a couple of games.
No kidding.
I was just walking around spouting basketball facts.
And you were able to parlay that into some cameo appearances.
Man, I thought I was going to be a star. I was giving hot takes like Stephen A. before Stephen A. It was ridiculous. I think the one clip where I got to talk for an extended time, it was me roasting Victor Avila.
Of all people.
I don't know what was wrong with me. He's a good dude.
Should have been Terry the Hair.
Yo, for sure. If I had a do over, I'll do it now. So don't tempt me.
Yeah, he was an asshole. But
Terrible.
anyway, yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, we got there's a episode of Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers where we talk all things Charleston Low Gators, and he's featured prominently in that episode and not in a good way. So
Yes.
so let's get into how you got into podcasting. Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers. How did that start?
So I was in real estate for a little bit, and I was that just wasn't for me. I really wanted to help businesses succeed. And even though my degree, I ended up finally getting my degree. Coach Johnson stayed on me, and my degree was in business management. So during the pandemic, I started helping Black-owned businesses get the PPP loan because there was a big discrepancy in who was getting it. So I was like, I got to solve this somehow. And one of the businesses I heard through the grapevine was struggling was the Charleston Chronicle, which is
Mm-hmm.
that was the long running Black newspaper here in Charleston. And so I connected with a couple of other people who were interested in not only creating local media but saving the Chronicle. The Chronicle chose not to continue. So we were like, well, we got this idea. Let's see if we can establish something here locally. And that didn't end up working out. But through that, I was like, well, I got to talk. When we thought we were doing something together, they were like, well, you just can't be behind the scenes like I thought I was going to be. Like, you got to be making something. We're too small of an organization for you to just do one job. So what do you want to talk about? And I was like, well, I'll talk about sports all day. So Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers was born, and I've been yapping ever since.
So what was the first episode like? Like actually recording it and putting it out, and you're like, wow, like this is me. This is my brainchild.
It was wild because most people, I feel like if you're normal, you don't really like the sound of your own voice.
Yeah,
But
I feel
then
you.
when I heard it, and it was mixed well by the person who was producing it well at the time too. Uh, when I heard my voice, I was like, "That's my voice. That sounds all right.
Yeah,
I might be okay with this." And then when people start listening to it and giving you feedback, then you're really like, "Oh, okay, maybe I should keep doing this. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm having fun doing it." So getting some good feedback, kind of getting better at conversations. It was helping my conversations away from the mic because I was thinking through like how to talk to people and everything like that. So I was like, this is a lot of fun.
yeah, and similar to your story, I'm naturally introverted, so for me, the podcast eventually became like a conversational exercise, so to speak. And so now, just like you, when I'm in social settings, I can conduct myself a lot better and engage way better than I was prior to doing the podcast. Being that I got the reps in, and I was able to develop that social muscle. I mean, still sometimes my like it's real easy for my social battery to drain, but I'm exponentially better than what I was prior to doing the podcast.
You and me both. You and me both, for sure.
So, what was some of your favorite episodes that you've done?
Oh man, I've had. I, I, I enjoy a lot of episodes, man. I think so. The Logator one that we did, that was my first time solo one on one with someone I had no prior anything with. Like,
Yeah.
you were just someone who I noticed were follow me on Instagram and would always like when I would post about the show. And when I invited you on, this was a time when my listens had gone down. I had separated from the company I was with and I was doing it on my own. And it may have been, I don't think anybody other than you, every other listener outside of Danny Foxworth was someone I knew in real life. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun doing it. So I was trying to ignore the numbers. I was like, man, if this dude is still supporting me, I need to talk to him. And so that was a fun one. And it's fun to look back on too, because I was incredibly nervous about it. And if you watch the episode on YouTube, you will notice it is the only episode that is broken up into segments and has different like title cards in between each segment.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is I was anxiously rambling, saying a whole bunch of nothing and not really flowing well at all, in my opinion. And you're always your own harshest critic. But in my opinion, I sounded terrible. So I had to chop it up to where it was listenable for me. Because as good as my voice sounded, the thoughts were bad. It was just not cohesive to me. So I had to chop it up real bad. And to hide that, I had to edit in these title cards to make it look like we were just doing segments of Logator Talk.
And I really enjoyed that episode. And that was also the episode where I made the announcement that I was going to branch out and start doing my own podcast, because prior to that, I had done a number of guest appearances on another podcast. Shout out to the board meeting. But it was right around the time when you invited me on. That's when I really made up my mind that I was going to venture off and start my own podcast. And man, I tell you what, I got to thank you for being such a great influence and also being incredibly supportive in my podcasting endeavor. So I got to tell you, thank you, because truthfully, man, without you, there would be no podcast for me. And I got to give you all the credit in the world.
Honestly, the feeling is mutual because, like I said, I don't know if anyone else was listening to me except you. And you were a natural. I mean, you've certainly improved, but you seemed like I came away impressed. I was like, he definitely needs to be doing a podcast because, especially this episode, he is blowing me out the water. He's carrying the team right now. So it's been crazy to see how far we both come since then.
It really has. So, next thing I want to talk about, and this is something that just recently happened with you. You are a newly minted father.
Yes.
So, share with us what that fatherhood experience is like for you.
So this is another in my emotional roller coaster of a life. This was kind of like the culmination to see if all the work I did on myself through both the anxiety and how I process my emotions, how you don't have to be competitive and cold and all this stuff, if I had succeeded in growing enough to actually not mess up another human being. Because the story starts August 12th, 2024. August 12th, 2024, the day after the Olympics ended. We found out Erin was pregnant July 9th. So throughout the Olympics, I had a very strong feeling that we were having a girl. So anytime we're watching like Team USA, Asia Wilson, I'm like, man, that could be my daughter out there one day. Simone Biles, whoever. August 12th, 2024, go to her OB to see the heartbeat. You don't listen to the heartbeat that early, but you see it on the screen. Show up to see the heartbeat. I've been ecstatic this whole month. Go to see the heartbeat. Pull up the ultrasound on the screen. No heartbeat. Erin had had a miscarriage.
Oh man.
So it was like I could not even be sad because the emotion hit me so hard, it like short circuited my brain. I was sad, but I couldn't even cry, which is something. Shout out to you, your episode on the importance of crying. It is very important. It's something I've had to relearn, but I couldn't do it because it just short circuited everything. And there was a whole lot of processing the grief and everything you have to do. And then you're also watching Erin go through it both mentally and physically. And it was just crazy because I thought like if someone had a miscarriage, you would know. But we didn't know till the ultrasound, which apparently is pretty common as well. And because of that, we also found out through a subsequent ultrasound, she had a septate uterus, which is essentially a thick piece of scar tissue in her uterus that basically would have restricted any any fetus's ability to grow within her uterus. So it's one of those things where when I look at bad things that have happened or no's that I've gotten, where I'm like, it's easy to look at and feel like, oh, I was robbed of something. Like this no is preventing me from something. But I try to switch it now to where maybe it was God or the universe actually protecting me from something. Because without this happening, we don't know that she has that issue with the uterus. It was a pretty easy surgery to fix it. Obviously, there was a lot of angst and everything that went into trying to get pregnant again, but it happened immediately. And then you're overjoyed, but you're holding your breath the whole time too.
Yeah. And then when she had the child, talk to us about what that experience was like.
Okay. So I've got a dog named Kobe who was named after Kobe Bryant before Kobe Bryant even died. Like I said, I was a big Kobe Bryant guy. The most impressive feat of overcoming your body telling you no to still get the job done and finish it in spite of fatigue, pain, whatever, was the last 4 minutes of Kobe Bryant's final game when he was old as dirt. He's gassed. He's already shot the ball 4 million times, and he's got to close it out against the Utah Jazz, and he ends up doing it somehow. Most spectacular thing I've ever seen until I watched Aaron give birth. That blew it out of the water. Just ridiculous. So she was scheduled for an induction Thursday, the 31st at 10 p.m. We had gone to her appointment that morning just to make sure everything was going to plan. We were going to go to the hospital at 10 at night because apparently that's when they do that. And she'd started having some light contractions throughout the day. But I was like, okay, we got some time. I'm going to be up all night. I'm going to take a nap, get ready because it's game time. I took a nap, and then Kobe the dog came to wake me up, and I was like, what's going on? And Aaron was in the bathtub having contractions and trying to like ease the pain, but it wasn't. We were getting close. It was more than the morning, but we weren't in trouble yet. And she texted her doctor and was like, this is what's going on. And if you can still feel the baby moving and you don't want any pain medicine, you don't have to go in. Me, if I was giving birth, you take me right to the hospital, you put me in a medically induced coma, and you cut the baby out of me. But Aaron was like, I'm going to labor at home as long as possible. So you have to be, for those who don't know, you have to be 10 centimeters dilated to begin pushing. In the morning, Aaron was 3 centimeters dilated, so we had some time. And there's no set time period for how long this takes. So the contractions at home are getting worse and worse. And I'm helping out in the only way I can, which is applying counter pressure and packing and just trying to, I got a playlist on, we're just trying to just maintain the vibes.
Right.
And then it got to a point where I was like, we're timing them too. And I was like, look, I don't know how accurate movies and television shows are, but we're getting to a point where I might not be able to help anymore. Like, we're getting above my pay grade with these contractions. But she was still holding out. And she knows too, she's a labor and delivery nurse. So
Okay.
she knows more than me, but I am starting to sweat a great deal. And so finally she's like, okay, we should probably try to go to the hospital, but I don't know how we're going to get there because it hurts to sit down. The contractions when I'm sitting down are terrible. So I don't know how we're going to get there. I said, well, we're going to get there. Don't worry about that because I'm not delivering a baby here. So please work with me. So we get in to the hospital and she's like stopping to walk in. She doesn't want a wheelchair. She's stopping every so often, walking into the hospital, having contractions. They were this close together, which is like Baby's on the way. They get her in the room. Uh, well, she sees all her friends know she's coming in to give birth. Everyone's excited. They all came to the baby shower, just like you. And they're like, "Oh, hey, Aaron," like thinking she's getting induced, like nothing's going on yet. And when they saw her, she like slammed her hand on the desk and is like grunting at them, can't even make words. They're like, "Oh, Aaron's going through it right now." And I was like, "Yeah, Aaron's going through it." Okay. And they're like, "Well, let's get her in the room, see how dilated she is." She was 8 centimeters dilated, which
Oh.
is very, very dilated. So we got there. It was probably not. It was like 9:30 ish at night, just before she was supposed to be induced. Um, she contracted 20 more minutes, and then she was like, "I need y'all to check me again. Something happened." And yeah, she was complete, and it was time to push. Well, at that point, I had not expected to just show up to the hospital and we are in the game. But I got to do something, and I can't faint. Number one, that was a rule. So she starts pushing, and we had wanted the song we wanted to hear most on the Spotify playlist, because we had people suggest songs at the baby shower, was "Happy Home" by Tupac. So very like right before she delivered, the songs that played were "Happy Home" by Tupac, which we don't have Spotify Premium, so this was a playlist with over 3 hours of songs. The fact this song played was crazy. Then she had "Still" by Tamia. She had a break of contractions that allowed her to sing "Still" by Tamia to me. So I don't know. And then finished up before the final push with "X Gonna Give It to You."
Oh, that is incredible.
Yeah, it was the wildest thing I've ever seen. And
Wow.
why we didn't know how far along she was her water never broke.
Oh.
So like the doctor and the nurse, her nurse friends were like freaking out over this because Rocket was born in his amniotic sac, and it's called an on-call birth. It's French, en space caul, and it's incredibly rare. I think 1 out of every 7 births are born like that. They had to peel him out of the sac like opening an egg yolk, and it has all these different meanings based on different cultures and everything. But one of them was kind of like a protector of fertility. So it was like this kind of cool full circle moment where you suffer this miscarriage, and then you have a baby who is sent into the world in a protective casing as the protector of fertility. Like it was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And it was the exact opposite, where like with the miscarriage, I was so sad. It was so much sadness all of a sudden that I short circuited. I was hit with so much happiness that I short circuited as well. It was just the most incredible thing I've ever been a part of. I couldn't believe it.
Just polar extremes with your reactions. So, man,
Yes.
how did Aaron react after she gave birth?
Well, she's a monster because she didn't have an epidural either, and we're not those
What?
people. No, it was crazy. So we're not
Holy
those type of
mackerel.
people who are like, if you want an epidural, get an epidural by all means. And if we had
Yeah.
been at the hospital, she probably would have gotten an epidural. But there's no judgment if you get one or if you don't get one. But it was ridiculous that she didn't get one because a human came out of her.
Yeah.
Like, give me every epidural. I don't care what you have. You got any kind of pain medicine. I know they got fentanyl there. I'm terrified of that, but go ahead and load me up. I'm not having a person come out of me and without pain medicine.
Yeah. I can't even begin to wrap my mind around doing something like that.
So she could walk around like immediately after they bring the baby and they lay it on mom's chest to regulate its temperature and everything, and then she does the first feeding, and then she was walking around, went and taking pictures with her friends, went and picked out his little newborn hat and everything like nothing happened.
Wow.
Yeah,
Man,
it was wild.
she is an absolute trooper.
Yeah, way better than me. I was like,
So, man, Rocket. So how has that experience changed you?
so it forces you. out of your comfort zone for sure. Like it's incredible. But I definitely had some different ticks I held on to from my anxiety days where, I like routine. Routines help me feel not anxious. There is no routine. His routine is the routine, and he has no routine. It's whatever he wants, we're doing right then and there. It forces you to be selfless. Like immediately, Aaron's maternal instinct kicked in, and she can handle it all. And she's got the thing that he wants, which is milk. Uh, he lets me know loudly and quickly, you don't have milk. So it's like the old show Dinosaurs, where he's like, not the
Not
mama,
the
not the
mama.
mama,
Not the
not the
mama.
mama.
Yeah.
That's Rocket. So I have to figure out ways that I can do things for him. But it's funny, all the things I do for him, like change his diaper, baths, whatever, they all make him angry because he doesn't want anything like that. He don't want his diaper changed. He doesn't want a bath. He wants milk. And I don't understand that. He's getting very frustrated with me, but he does enjoy taking naps on me. So I do have that. But her maternal instinct kicks in to where everything in her being is taking care of this baby. So everything that I do is facilitating that. Like I need to make sure she's drinking plenty of water, getting plenty to eat. When she can rest, she's got to rest. Any chores or anything around the house, laundry, dishes, whatever, stuff where, especially before, where you're like, I'll get to that later. You don't really have that luxury right now. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my role. I'm the role player, the Kirsten Bell of the team, and I'm letting Asia do her thing.
There you go, man. There's so many working show titles. Just let
Yeah.
Asia do her thing. Oh my goodness! But man, it's so incredible to just hear your account of the uh, the parenthood. How you had the miscarriage of first, and then it's like you just rebounded from that, for lack of a better term, and y'all have a baby boy in this world now.
It
That's hard for
is
me to wrap my mind around.
it's so wild because like he turned 4 weeks old today, and it's like I cannot remember not having him. Like it feels like he's just been a part of our lives forever. And it's just so much fun just to watch him do different things. He's getting to where, his wake times are a little bit longer. So he will stare at you and not be angry because there's no milk. And like it's just fun just reading them stories and talking to him and trying to like imagine his personality and what he's gonna be like and who he looks like and all this stuff. It's just so much fun.
I love it. And speaking of new experiences, and this is something that you and I have both just pr- pretty much dipped our toe in, is TikTok. So
Yes.
I have some thoughts about TikTok, but I want to get your thoughts in terms of you getting acclimated with the social media platform.
Yes, so this is another thing where I'm very big. If you haven't picked up on it now, if there's something that I feel like is a barrier or a fear, I'm trying to run through it. Posting on social media is one of those things. I've always admired your ability to post on Instagram. I'm like, man, one day. And so the easiest way for me to do that was to dip my toe into TikTok because it's strangers there mostly. I don't know why it
Yeah.
feels more comfortable to do it in front of strangers, but it does. So it is what it is. And I'd messed around with it some with promoting the podcast and everything, and then trying it before where you get all these videos from these gurus telling you what works, what doesn't work, this, that, and the other.
Hmm.
So I was like, I want to do it, but I got to do it the way that I feel comfortable doing it, and we'll just see what happens. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I try to post a video every day, just to work out the kinks and see what works, what doesn't work. Not for any real purpose, although if someone wants to give me a brand deal, you can. But mostly just I'm trying to conquer every fear possible and get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's when Coach Johnson would always yell that at me. So I'm trying to get comfortable being uncomfortable in as many different facets of life as possible.
And yeah, I'm in the same boat with you with TikTok. I'm a little bit better with getting acclimated with it, but by and large, there's still a lot of things about TikTok that I'm just largely annoyed with. Mainly, and I think it's because I'm just now figuring out how to really fine tune my algorithm. Because initially, it was just women with posting TikToks of them with like heavy facial filters, and whenever they talk, it's someone else's voice. Brandon, I hate that shit. I know hate is a strong word. I hate that shit in all caps. I cannot stand it. It's like, who are you? Like, this is somebody else's voice.
Yes.
By and large, it's somebody else's thoughts. Like, even when they post a selfie, it's somebody else's voice. Like, this is a woman she does not look like what she's been through. She's been through the fire and she's come out on the other side. You don't want to get on her bad side. Just like shit like that. And then on top of that, Brandon, there's a huge possibility that the voice they're using is AI generated. And I'm like,
Yes.
everything just feels so synthetic. I'm like, this,
Yeah.
and that's why, not to blow smoke up your ass, but you're one of the reasons why I love your TikToks, because it's you, it's your voice, it's your thoughts. And it's 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 something different from what I'm used to on my timeline.
It is terrible. Like, you are right. Like, it is ridiculous, and everyone is like, I keep getting hit with these gurus. They must know. I think TikTok likes to show you what you don't like a lot too.
Yeah,
I'll try to hit not interested and swipe and do all this stuff. And it's like, this is how you record a viral TikTok. Like, I don't want to go viral on TikTok. Like, I want people who are interested in sharing things with me to find my TikToks enjoyable and also share things with me that I find enjoyable as well. I don't want to argue. They're like, and people will find you, especially, I mean, the sports stuff that I post, people will find you and they want to argue. And I was like, oh, I thought you were coming to share a different perspective, but you want to argue. And they're like, well, it's good for your engagement. I don't care about my engagement, and I'll shut the comments off because
yeah,
I don't want to argue with everybody all day, and I will do that because I'm I haven't grown in that way yet. I'm working towards it. The whole ability to be okay being misunderstood is something that I'm still working on, because I posted something about something I've learned as a father of a newborn is we have all these wet wipes and you can't just pull a single wet wipe at a time for whatever reason. And you're changing diapers. You only have one free hand and you're pulling a CVS receipt of wet wipes. They're all connected. And I just posted about that. And that got a lot more views than I thought. I think like 55,000 views. And then you get all these people coming in your comments. You get a lot of people. I'm focused on the negative a lot, and I shouldn't be like that. A lot of people had very good suggestions. But you get these people who are making assumptions about you as a person based on something you're not even really serious about. And they're like, well, you need to be laying out 6 or 7 at a time beforehand. And I thought, why didn't you see this other TikTok that was saying that? Like, I don't watch every TikTok. Why would I know this? Why would
right.
anybody know this until they experienced it? And I'm not the type of person where if you don't know something and you admit it, that should be a good thing. You shouldn't be made to feel like you're a ding dong, but people are projecting, they're using it to make themselves feel better about their own parenting, as though my inability to snag a single wet wipe is impacting my ability to father my child. Just all kind of ridiculous stuff. And I did have to take a break from the comments because they were driving me crazy. But it can be terrible if you let it be terrible.
Yeah, that's true. If you let it be terrible, and that's something I'm working on as well. And I remember, your Gilbert Arenas TikTok blew up, bro. I did not see that coming.
That was funny because it's always the ones where I'm just not planning anything. Because I definitely have gone into, I'm not going to try to really plan out a TikTok. If I have a thought that I think is interesting, I'm just going to say it and move on. And that was one I recorded, I believe, the Wednesday before Aaron gave birth. I recorded it, posted it. we're in the hospital, obviously dealing with everything on Thursday. I come back around Friday or Saturday and check it, and it's got like 200,000 views. And I was like, what in the world has happened here?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. But that's kind of how it works. Like, you can't pick and choose what's going to do numbers, which is why I think it's so silly to focus all of your TikToks on trying to make that happen. Just be authentic and talk about what interests you. Because when I was trying to go viral before, when I was trying to promote the podcast and people were giving you advice and everything on how to do it, it didn't feel authentic and all that shit flopped.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's probably flopping because they can tell, like, if you're watching this, I seem like I'm being held hostage. So I think that just getting on there and talking the way that I would talk to you offline is, people seem to enjoy that a lot more. And
Yeah.
I certainly do. So
Yeah. And I actually took bits and pieces of your method and basically just implemented it myself. Like sometimes I'll just do like random poetry that
yes,
just it's just real aimless. It's just some like verbal diarrhea that I enjoy, that I wanted to get out. And yeah, I just, again, the authenticity factor, like you said, it's just isn't it's not enough on it, or at least I'm not finding it is
no,
at the rate that I would like to.
I completely agree. And I just wish we could get to doing that because, like you're saying, the AI generated stuff, and there's just all kind of different things where I just want to meet people and hear about their passions and what they're enthusiastic about and what they find interesting and everything like that. I don't want to, like, this whole facade people feel the need to put up, and I've been there too, but it just is not for me.
Yeah. And one more thing about TikTok. If I
Yes.
hear that damn darling hold my hand Jet 2 Holiday one more damn time, I swear I'm
Yes.
going to throw my phone.
It is so bad. And the worst part too is, like, the most annoying audios that people are always using, they'll get stuck in your head and you'll find yourself like humming it one day and like, oh man, this is a Black Mirror episode. I need something to fix whatever's going on in my brain because I can't live like this.
Yeah, nothing beats a Jet 2 Holiday. I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh. I would like to beat a Jet 2 holiday if I hear that again.
yes. So last question. I didn't even think about doing a 5 question segment, but I'll still ask. What was the last thing that really made you laugh?
Ooh, this is good. This is a great question. I always enjoy this question, and I've found myself laughing a lot. It was probably the Ryan Howard, the press conference where she was mad at people chanting MVP,
Yeah.
and then someone had posted. I'm not really on Twitter like that. I definitely don't post on Twitter like that anymore because that was a bit much for me. But someone sent me a picture, I think, from Twitter, and it was just, I forgot that Ryan Howard had quite prominently flipped someone the bird during Unrivaled. And it cracked me up because if you're familiar with Ryan Howard, she is so low key and kind. And anytime I've gone to a Dream game, she's great with the fans, just like a really nice person. And so I think the juxtaposition of, like, her personality, how I know her to be, and then her with this just the strongest middle finger I've seen in quite some time. It just cracked me up. And probably a little bit of sleep deprivation too.
Yeah, I hear you. I think the last thing that really made me laugh was actually today. It was just some drama going on at work, and one of my coworkers made his assessment of the drama. He took a catchphrase, but he basically did it the wrong way. He said, "Man, this is the camel that broke the straw's back." I'm like,
Ooh,
"Oh, that's not how that works." I get what
no.
you're saying,
That's
but
a that's
yeah,
a
you
that's
did.
a fire star. That's a tank. He tanked
Yeah,
it.
that's exactly. I hear you.
That's so that was I've got a couple of other things that have made me laugh. This is a far back one with the fire starter. Like, someone had posted on, this was back when I was on Twitter a lot more,
Uh-huh.
highlight comp of Stromile Swift dunking. And this man like retweeted it, quote tweeted it, said, "Nice dunk, sorry ass," and that just killed me.
Oh man.
And
Yeah,
then there was a YouTube video of this guy singing a song dedicated to Yoshi Yamamoto, a Dodgers pitcher.
really.
And Brett, who has been on the show, Brett Gosnell, recreated it perfectly and had his 4-year-old daughter film him do it. And he sent it to me. And that killed me too. That was very recently, within the past couple of weeks, and that killed
Oh
me too.
man. That's funny.
Yes.
And speaking of Firestarter, you know, he's so quick to call somebody sorry. I remember I posted the IG clip when I was in Atlanta and I kicked a field goal.
Yes.
And he never posts on IG, but he made it he made it his job to leave a comment. He said, "Yeah, that joint looks sorry." I'm like, never change, Bob. Never change.
Boy, I tell you, that was impressive because my patellar tendon would have been good from 70 yards if I tried that.
Man, so Brandon, this is an absolutely great episode, man. I it was really cool just to get into the mind of Brandon Silvers and just hear like your maturation process
Yes.
from the elementary school and creative writing into fatherhood. It's just
Yeah.
what a hell of a roller coaster ride, man. And
Yes.
thank you for sharing your story. Seriously.
For sure, man. I appreciate coming on. I know you broke your podcast news on my show. So I have a little bit of podcast news if you do not mind.
Have at
The
it.
drum roll. Thank you, sir. So I've had a lot of fun just talking about different things on TikTok. So I am currently underway with rebranding, where I will have a show notes podcast. The show notes is my blog that I do. I'm going to do a podcast related to that where I can talk about the things that interest me, different pop culture stuff. A lot of the stuff I talk about is going to be, I love 90s TV shows. I like hip hop and R&B from like 1996 to 2012. Just different things I find funny or interesting. I'm going to have a podcast for that, and I'll also be talking to people who I hope I'll be talking to people about things they're interested in, because that's kind of what I was hoping to get out of TikTok. And I feel like it's easier to do that in a podcast setting than just relying on strangers. So there will be a show notes podcast. That is what Beyond the Arc will still be. Beyond the Arc. It will be under the show notes podcast umbrella. But that is yes, we're branching out. TikTok has changed my life for the good in this way.
Since we last spoke, exclusive.
There we go.
Man, I cannot wait. Yeah, I cannot wait to hear this podcast, the show notes. Let's go.
Well, you certainly be a guest, so get ready for that. And everyone, be a little patient, because I am up to my ears in diapers, but it's coming. I've been working on the graphics and everything. It's something I've been thinking about, especially like listening to your conversations with people. It makes me want to talk to more people, and man, it's just, I'm excited for it. So we'll see what comes from it.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. Brandon, thank you so much for being a guest on here, man. Seriously.
Absolutely, man. Anytime.
And thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, download, and subscribe to Since We Last Spoke to Danny Foxworth. Tell a friend about the podcast. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me at Danny Foxworth 843. There you can find videos of every episode of this podcast, as well as my baseball podcast, At the Plate with Danny Foxworth, my Candle podcast, The Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth, and Growing Up Low Country with Liz and Danny. And for Brandon and myself, this has been another episode of Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth. And until next time, y'all be good. Peace.